Welcome back, and thanks for sticking with us this evening. It's just a little past midnight now, but yesterday, technically today, is National Vietnam War Veterans Day. It marks the anniversary when the last American combat troops departed Vietnam. Across the country, today serves as a time to honor the lives of those who made the ultimate sacrifice during the 20-year-long war. Here in the Low Country, the day was commemorated with a ceremony at Patriots Point, Naval and Maritime Museum in Mount Pleasant. Our Gracie Kirshner brings us the sights, sounds, and stories from the event.
Patriots Point commemorated this special day on the year of their 50th anniversary with music, prayers, and a focus on the medics and nurses who saved many soldiers' lives. Attendees heard from veterans about their experiences in the field, from combat missions to nights in the emergency room, fearing for their own lives while saving others. People from all places and all ages came to honor the legacy of these veterans, which spans for generations to come. One of those people is Bill Gagliano, who says coming here today is not only a reminder of what he's gone through, but that veterans like him are part of something so much bigger: history.
It's kind of therapeutic to relive some of these memories and know that you were a part of something that was larger than yourself. I sometimes don't know if I should remember or forget.
Before and after the ceremony, those veterans and their immediate families got to take in all that Patriots Point has to offer free of charge. Reporting in Mount Pleasant, I'm Gracie Kirshner, Live 5 News.